This win in Montreal was as good as money in the bank. It goes to Max Angelelli and Jan Magnussen. SunTrust duo Max Angelelli and Jan Magnussen's stunning drive to victory last week proved the Gainsco gang is beatable.
The car was great, and I think we found a way.
The title is far from decided, and the pressure on Pruitt keeps on rising.
I mean, they're getting closer, and the 99 car has certainly been showing everybody the way.
The hectic summer schedule now takes the series to Watkins Glen for the second time this year. But this time, it's exclusively Daytona prototypes. The big boys are ready to play on the Glen's short course, but it won't be short on drama. The Rolex Sports Car Series on speed is now.
There are few racetracks in North America with more history than the famed Watkins Glen, and when the Rolex Sports Car Series is at such a critical stage of the year, there is no better place to be. This is the Crown Royal 200 at the Glen. Yes, it's round 12 of the Rolex Sports Car Series, and we are very much looking forward to this. Welcome everybody, Lee Diffie along with Dorsey Schrader, Calvin Fish, and as always, the boys on pit road, Brian Till and Chris Neville. The reason why we are so looking forward to this round, this race, is there is nothing in this title chase. Scott Pruitt, a former series champion, has the narrowest of margins over another former series champion, Max Angelelli. Just 2 points in it, and then a further 7 back. The hard-charging young guns of Fogarty and Gurney, who have had more wins than anybody in this season. However, there's a little bit of a story involving Scott Pruitt, our championship leader, that he was none too pleased about. A rare mistake in the second practice session this weekend saw Scott heavily damage the Lexus Riley, the Chip Ganassi Telmex machine. Slapped the front and rear left-hand side of the car, caused extensive damage, and he himself got his hands dirty, got down there in amongst the team and helped them fix that car. Chris, it was something that we don't normally see.
Lee, Scott Pruitt has that fragile 2-point lead, and because of that accident, the Telmex crew was late to qualifying. Main was going to start 14th today. How does the team rebound and defend your championship lead?
Well, we just got to keep doing what we're doing. Out of my family at home, the Telmex guys did a great job. All the Ganassi guys jumped in from both teams to get that car turned around. Unfortunately, we only got 1 lap in qualifying. The car, we got back together, ran last night. It was very fast, very comfortable with it. So we just got to be smart. You may see us change up, may do something a little crazy coming during the race, trying to get ourselves ahead and take advantage of pit stops as much as we can. So we're going to let things play out, see how Mima does with traffic at the start of the race, and get the most out of it we can.
Well, this should be a one-stop race, but this team was practicing driver changes, so will they come in early, make it a 2-stop race, and get Scott behind the wheel early? Brian?
Well, Max Angelelli now only 2 points behind Scott Pruitt in the championship. And Max, now that you've caught him and with the problems that Scott had in qualifying, do you feel even more pressure to get it done now and jump into that championship lead?
What? I tell you, it's going to be difficult anyway, because the 01, Scott and Memo, they're going to be there. I mean, the team is super, and they're going to be there, unfortunately.
Well, Max may be joking around and good-natured right now, but Max the Axe Angelelli will be on a charge when he gets in the car, guys.
Time now to take a closer look at the Lexus track map, and we get talked around by someone who has won multiple times here over the years. Dorsey, talk us through.
Well, this short track at Watkins Glen is just short of 2.5 miles in length, and it comes at you at a hurry. The best passing opportunities, the brake zone here down into 1. Again, the brake zone on the inner loop. And the only left-hander in the course, right here, turn 6. Those brake zones are the best place. I say it comes at you in a hurry. Let me explain. John Fogarty sits on the pole. New track record at 1:07.020. Now that equates to 131.603 miles per hour. This race is the fastest circular time that they will run.
Calvin will let Dors catch his breath for a moment to complete the story. Not only did Pruitt go off track, so too did Angelelli. The top 2 in the championship making mistakes. Is the title pressure getting to them?
It has to be, Lee. Both drivers have been here many times before, but for Scott Pruitt, he feels that the Pontiac Riley is a stronger package right now as they go to the final races of the championship. So he's really wringing the neck of that Lexus Riley 01 machine. We saw the mistake from him. We also saw Angelelli in the gravel trap. So they're feeling the heat right now from that 99 cover. It's really eating into that championship lead that they currently have. I think strategy tonight will be key. As Dorsey said, this is a short, fast lap. Pruitt mentioned it also. The 0-1 team really have to roll the dice tonight with strategy.
Dorsey, you agree?
I totally agree. You don't see drivers of this caliber make mistakes unless they're trying 110%. That's what they need to get the speed out of that car, and it's better be quick here tonight.
Ruby Tuesday starting grid rolling across at the top of your screen. We congratulate John Fogarty for his 7th consecutive pole. It is the 8th in a row for the Gainsco team. It is the 9th overall for that team as they roll through the final turn. We're ready to go here at the Glen for round 12 of the Rolex Sports Car Series, the Crown Royal 200 at the Glen, and it's a familiar scene. Fogarty starts from the pole as the green flag flies, but what has Nick Johnson got for him?
Look at Christian Fittipaldi down the inside, takes 3rd position from Gidley.
But he gets him a little bit hot, Calvin. I don't know if he can hold it off. He cannot hold it off.
Great work from Mamo Gidley. He got through. Mark Wilkins was fighting over that position. You ride with Christian Fittipaldi.
One of the advantages that Christian has, he is not in this championship battle. He can take risks.
Antonio Garcia is back in the Crown Royal machine alongside Fittipaldi. They had a very strong run at Montreal. Here's Angelelli fighting with Johnson. He's got himself back up to 3rd.
First time through the inner loop, and the tire pressures and the tire temperatures are not up yet. It's very cool today. It's been raining earlier on, so it's going to be a bit dicey for a lap or two here.
You can hear the tire squeal there, Dorsey, and the 76 car is off. You see the dirt across the road. That's into the inner loop.
And this could bring out a caution, and if it does, strategy is going to be all over the board.
Gidley has caught Johnson very quickly, and we have our full course yellow on the opening lap.
Let's think about strategy here. The 01, the 58, the 23. These are all potential guys who may dive into pit line. We have that 45-minute rule. Everyone has to do a mandatory stop before that mark.
Wow. Chris Zakaris was diving on the inside there, but we're under a full course yellow. I hope he did not go by. No, he didn't.
Well, if he did, he would have given it back anyway. Everything's now kind of under control. There's Tracy Krone's car. A lot of damage. The splitter, that's the radiator grill that's up over the nose.
All right, we hear there's action on pit road. Chris is there.
The 58 came in for that quick pit stop. They got that mandatory stop done. Just a quick stop and go by that team. They had problems in qualifying with that motor they had let go, so they had to go to the back of the pack. Also, the 91 came in further down pit lane. I couldn't see if Goossens got behind the wheel, but I would anticipate that he did.
Driver change there on the 23 as well. Pat Long behind the wheel.
I think Jim Matthews' helmet looked like that striped black and white helmet in the 91 machine, so it looked like they just did the stop, kept Jim in. Big call there by Alex Job, taking out Manu Collard, and Pat Long is behind the wheel.
Of course, here's Tracy Krone. This is the cause for the caution. We'll take a look at what happened to Tracy as he got in the inner loop. One of the places I told you you'll have action. Look up on the screen. He's getting involved there with a couple different cars, it looks like.
Like the 23 car is right in the middle of that.
That's early on, Calvin. That's right where you turn into the inner loop. So that one happened right. Here's a better look at it.
Right there you see Collard kind of takes the road away from Tracy Krone there. Tracy goes up and over the curb, smashes into the barrier.
That splitter almost stopped the car for a moment. You see that thing? I mean, it probably did a lot of damage to the under tray.
Brian?
Definitely a lot of damage to the nose. The under tray seems to be okay, Dorsey, but they're having a difficult time getting this new nose back on the 76 car. Tracy Krone leading the Truman Award for gentlemen drivers in the sport. They've gotten the car back down and underway.
That had to tweak the front end. We'll take a look at it. And what's really caught my eye is when the splitter hits the curb. Watch up ahead here. This is on board 58. Watch the car stop when it hits this curb. Bam! Right there. I mean, that was a huge hit.
It looked like Tracy was trying to take that position back from the 23 machine, not the other way around. So, little aggressive move there cost him dearly.
I don't think this car is fixed. I really don't. With that much energy dissipated through that under tray, I guarantee you that's going to have trouble.
There's a lot of action in the opening turn on the opening lap as well, where Mark Wilkins was fighting over a spot. Mamo Gidley was able to get through on the inside and get back up to 3rd, but they're all chasing John Fogarty. As we catch our breath, the field is slow. We go back to racing when we come back. Speed's coverage of the Rolex Sports Car Series is brought to you by Rolex. A crown for every achievement. By Ruby Tuesday, simple, fresh American dining from start to finish. And powered by Pontiac and the 260 horsepower Solstice GXP. We're back at the Glen. You're watching Sports Cars on Speed. We're still under our full course caution, on the very first lap, incidentally, if you've just joined us. And let's show you a pretty racy start down into turn 1. Take a look at this. There was some very good racing. A personal best qualifying, incidentally, from Mark Wilkins. And he is right in the middle of this. Look to the left of your screen, though. The gold and purple machine of Christian Fittipaldi. He dives for the inside. Wilkins alongside Mamo Gidley, but then Christian runs wide and Gidley goes right on through to get back to third. Nice work there.
That is a typical restart, our start here at Watkins Glen. You see right there the Tracy Crone incident where he just brought the first caution out. So we're about to go green on lap 3.
And the view there from Darren Law on board the Red Bull Brumos machine. But we're ready to go racing again here at Watkins Glen. Out of the final turn, onto the front straight. And the green flies here at the Glen. Can anybody catch Fogarty? We will find out.
See, I told you it was a typical start. Here it goes again.
Christian again. Gidley seen this picture once before already today.
Lovely restart, Christian Fittipaldi. Position gain. Nice work.
This time he got the car wound up enough, too, that he didn't go wide. He didn't lose that position back. It's a good start for Christian.
A little bit of tire temp. There seemed to be something flapping on the front of the 10 machine from the onboard there briefly, but look at Gidley tucked right underneath that Fab car. Who will have the straightaway speed here? Christian defends.
Both Pontiac-powered cars. The one on the right is a Fab car. The one we ride with is a Riley. And Christian Fittipaldi comes back. Does not want to relinquish that position.
Wow, he didn't have any straightaway speed, though, did he? I mean, Mimo had a lot more speed there. Christian just being a lot more aggressive.
What a difficult position for Mamo Gidley. He's really trying to drive that car and hand over the keys to Max Angelelli with no damage and certainly in good track position. So this is a very difficult position, similar to what Mamo Rojas has been in all season long with the 01 car.
Drama for the 60 Mike Shank Racing Lexus. Mark Patterson behind the wheel. Can we hear anything? The report is he spun and obviously now is continuing. Fogarty has a handy margin over Nick Johnson, then Fittipaldi, then Gidley. Watch the SunTrust car. Does he look for an inside opportunity? No.
I think he will when he gets on top of the straightaway. The straightaway speed between the two cars is not the same. Christian Fittipaldi's car is not anywhere near as quick on top end. Watch here as he works to draft up the hill.
You have to wonder, Dorsey, we had a lot of rain here this afternoon. There's a threat of rain for this evening's race, whether some of these guys have added some downforce in case they see some stringles here this evening. And there you see Fittipaldi again. He does have no straightaway speed compared to the SunTrust car. Here comes Gidley.
Does he have the legs this time? No! Christian defends again brilliantly into the inner loop. He is making life hard for Gidley.
Yeah, I mean, he keeps defending by going to the inside there, which forces Mimo out the outside. Mimo does not want to hurt the car, like you said, Calvin. So he's given up that position, but he's not going to take this for long.
What a great run by Rojas, though. However, he survived that early lap carnage, and he is now in 6th spot. Scott Pruitt will be loving this. He looks to the inside of the 61 car.
Mark Wilkins in the 61, doing a brilliant job. Sits 5th. He qualified 4th. But massive gain from Rojas in the Telmex machine, and the sister Ganassi car right behind with Rob Finlay running a very impressive 7th. Dave Murray right behind those guys with the Synergy Porsche Doran. Sits 8th, then Al Hadif and Pugh, that's the top 10.
There you see just outside the top 10, that's the 58 machine, Darren Law. He's the lead car of anyone who has stopped here today, so he's done that mandatory stop. He currently runs in 11th spot.
Mimo Gidley is backed up away from Christian Fittipaldi. I don't know if that could be strategy, trying to get a better run going on him, because he knows he's got top speed by now.
It's the replay of Mark Patterson's spin in the inner loop.
Oh, just too much curve. Got up on the curb, Calvin, and got the car loose. Lucky he didn't back into the wall here. That's a place normally you have a big crash.
Got to be careful with those painted curbs. There has been rain here this afternoon, as we mentioned, and there's potential for the water to still sit in those and take the grip level away when you need it.
Brian?
You guys are talking about whether it did rain earlier, like Calvin mentioned, but it is very cool right now as you look at Rojas trying to work his way by. It's very cool, and that means the cars are going to handle completely differently than they have throughout the weekend. A lot of teams guessing on downforce right now. As cool as it is, not a lot of grip. If you start the race with a little bit of push, you're going to have a good car at the end, but if you start the race loose, you're going to have your hands full. Chris?
Brian, Christian Fittipaldi is reporting to the team right now that the 39 machine does have a slight misfire on the straightaway, so that's why we're seeing not a lot of speed out of that car. Not much they can do at this point in time other than just drive it through.
Well, talking to the engineer Ian Watt this afternoon, they had that misfire issue in practice and in qualifying. Christian, in fact, lost his fastest lap when it had that misfire. It cut the engine out. Christian spun and then couldn't get it refired, so he caused a black flag situation that cut the session shot. Gidley takes the position.
Boy, he made quick, smart work of that. He got a brilliant run on Christian out of the previous corner and did not mess about that time.
And you saw how he slammed. Oh, he got loose right there. That's a bad place. You saw how he slammed the door shut, too. That's a little bit displeasure he's showing right there for being blocked up a little bit.
You have to remember that Mamo is relishing this opportunity, because when he made his opening appearance in the SunTrust Pontiac Riley, it was at Barber Motorsports Park, and he didn't do a whole lot of time in the car, handed over to Max Angelelli, then he drove himself to complete fatigue on that very warm and humid day in Alabama. So Mamo is really looking forward to getting some good time in the car here at Watkins Glen, and Brian standing by with his team principal.
Wayne Taylor watching nervously. You watch that great battle there with Memo Gidley and Christian Fittipaldi. But Wayne, as you watch it, Memo's kind of damned if he does and damned if he doesn't. He's got to get to the front, but he's got to protect the car. You're a driver. You know how difficult is it for Memo right now?
Well, he's done a good job. He's got past the crown of every car. But I mean, obviously there's 3 cars in this championship, and you can win and lose it this weekend. He had to get around the car, and he's got around now, so he's going to be okay.
Waiting for Max to get in, I know, but how do you sit here and stay calm? The championship, it's right there.
We have nothing to worry about. We are totally under control. It's really good.
Yeah, when the camera goes off of him, guys, you'll watch his feet start patting up and down. He is nervous, guys.
Yes, that's the biggest facade we've ever seen. We know Wayne so well. He does get very nervous. He wears his heart on his sleeve, but that's what makes him a great competitor. He is so passionate about sports car racing and wants his man, Angelelli, to get another title. It's a massive weekend here at Watkins Glen, not only with the Rolex Sports Car Series, but the Nextel Cup and Busch Series. And for all the in-depth analysis, detailed driver stats and breaking news, log on to the most powerful online team in NASCAR, foxsports.com and speedtv.com. We're back. And this man is doing the business like no other. 5.2 seconds in the lead is John Fogarty, going for the team's 6th victory this year. They wanted to pull it off in Montreal. They couldn't. But look at that. That's what 5.2 seconds looks like.
Of course, these two guys doing hard battle tend to usually slow themselves up just a little bit compared to the clean air up front.
Watch the straightaway speed of the SunTrust boys. We talked about Christian Fittipaldi being slow, but the 10 car is awfully quick, Dorsey.
It's very quick on top end. But what I've noticed is that Nick Janssen gets off these corners. Now, right up here in turn 5, he's loose. Right here, the car gets loose, but when he gathers it up, he gets good speed out the bottom, and that's the chute that runs down the backstretch to the left-hand corner.
As we enjoy this scrap for second, you can see Fittipaldi still in 4th. Wilkins maintains 5th. Rojas 6th. Rob Finlay, excellent job in 7th. Darren Law, remember the 58 started at the back, came in early. He's up to 8th. Matt Al-Hadif is 9th. Well done, Patrick Long in the Ruby Tuesday Porsche. He's already in the top 10. And Thomas Enger has taken over from Chris Zakeris. He's already up into 11th. Nice work by some of those drivers.
Samac's car looks very quick here this weekend with Thomas Enger behind the wheel. Look for that car to get to the front, and they again have made that mandatory pit stop. So we're about 27 minutes or so left in the window for these guys to pit. So we're going to see some action one way or another, even if we don't see a caution period on pit lane.
What a performance from this young man, this young Canadian this weekend. Got the team's best qualifying spot at Montreal, top 5 in 5th. Went one better here this weekend, qualifying 4th. It's a small team and it's first season of the Rolex Sports Car Series, and they have impressed. Simple as that.
They made a big change overnight in Montreal. They were struggling with the car there. Then right before the final day, they made a suspension geometry change. It absolutely transformed the car. Qualified well there in the top 6 again here. And Mark Wilkins doing a tremendous job with this startup team. A lot of experience there. Ian Willis kind of holding the reins of those boys. A lot of good young drivers, the 2 Frizzels, who alternate between the different events alongside Mark Wilkins for the year.
There's a lot of side G-force on these chassis around this racetrack. There is no real slow corner. Turn 1 is the slowest. The rest of these corners, like this one, you're on the car in the corner a long time, on the throttle a long time, and it really loads the chassis hard.
Darren Law talked about the driving characteristics off that Porsche motor. He said it kind of comes on a bit like an on-off switch. He said this course is better. Here we see the 60 car. Oz Negri, he's a lap down, trying to get his way back into the action here. trying to make up for that quick spin by Mark Patterson early on.
And when Mark spun, he came in on that lap, and Oswaldo Negri got behind the wheel. Here's Patrick Long lining up Matt Al-Haddaf. It's the Porsche versus the BMW, and then Thomas Enger is tucked in right behind him. So they're going in a nice little duo, making significant progress. No Patrick Carpentier in the Samex car this weekend. But tell us more about the Czech, Brian.
Inga always very fast when he gets in this car. He's been in it twice before. He actually ran here at the 6 hours, but they had a mechanical issue. You were talking about Patrick Carpentier. Well, he's focusing on the Busch and the Nextel Cup race this weekend. He wants to do more of that this season. So I talked to team owner Peter Barron, and he said, if Patrick is fortunate enough to land some more Nextel Cup stuff, look for Thomas Inga to be back with the Samax team in some more races this year, guys.
Nextel Cup qualifying was, of course, cancelled this afternoon due to rain. But in their practice session, Dorsey, earlier, Patrick was in the top 10 in Cup practice. That was impressive.
That's extremely impressive on this racetrack because it's so, it's so tight and it's so quick around here that even the Cup cars tend to really qualify very, very close to each other. Being the top 10 is an awesome job.
Well, Matt Al-Haddaf there weaving around a little bit. I'm not sure if he was trying to disturb Finley in front of him or kind of tell the guys behind, don't think about it. So kind of a strange line there going down into turn one, but he's done a great job here. Hasn't been the smoothest of weekends for the Luggage Express boys, but right now Matt Al-Haddaf is certainly doing a great job in holding down this spot.
On board with Mamo Gidley. Oh, this is the Pontiac chase. He has hit. Oh no, he keeps it in a straight line though. Good save, but he has hit the Matt Connolly Pontiac chase. It's still going, but more importantly, the SunTrust car, a championship contender, is still going.
Have to wonder about that front bodywork, Dorsey. Was there any damage to the SunTrust machine? Gidley will be feeling it out now for these next couple of corners, trying to relay to the team any information he can give them about potential damage or tire troubles.
The first nudge, I don't think, did much, but the second hit was a lot more stout. I don't see damage to the car, but like you said, he's going to have to feel this car out to the next couple of corners, make sure he doesn't have a tire issue or some sort of rub. I see no smoke. I think he got lucky.
Look at Darren Law. Darren Law on Memo Rojas.
Obviously got a chop there because he dropped back several car lengths, but Darren Law is on a charge here. He has made that stop. It was a quick one, no driver change, but the Brumos team again rolling the dice. Let's take another look.
This is amazing to spin the car here. Of course, he got some help, but not to have an accident. You're so close to that guardrail and you're going so quick right there. It's unbelievable.
Great save by Mamo when he hit the grass, and then good avoidance by the 61 machine.
And the 39.
Closely.
Yeah, Fittipaldi, a great job also avoiding. Now you see it. Here's the first little bump that loosens him up. The car's loose anyway, so it doesn't take much. Just sorry about that. But this one right here is a good hit.
Well, let's switch to the 58 of Darren Law and see how it looked from his point of view. In fact, this is the 39. This is Christian Fittipaldi.
A good job by Christian. Yeah. Watch how close he gets right here.
The chase definitely pinched down towards that white line. If you look from the onboard, definitely that gap narrowed there towards the edge of the corner there, Dorsey. So I don't think that was Mamo's fault.
Brian, tell us more about the SunTrust car.
The SunTrust team standing up just in case they needed to work on that car. But obviously stayed out on track. But here's the deal, guys. They dodged the bullet. We're only 17 laps in. These teams need 30 laps in the book, and they can make it on just one stop. If they had to come early for that little incident on the track, that little incident could have turned into a very big deal in the championship hunt.
Well, it's not like Mamo is catching his breath and calming down. He is going back after it hard and fast, trying a move on Christian Fittipaldi there, but it didn't come off.
Well, I think he dodged a bullet on that last deal. He's be talking to himself in the helmet right now, saying, now, calm down, no more of that. Don't throw this thing away for these guys.
That was such a lucky escape. Good driving, good fortune. It could have had massive championship implications.
Those are the breaks you need at this stage of the game. I think the key for these last three races is we don't want to see any of these teams have any bad luck or incidents. We want it to go down to the wire. And we're certainly seeing that here today. Fogarty is out front. He's the guy who's third in the championship. Gidley holds down fourth position. He's got second place Angelelli to share that car with. And Mamo Rojas back in sixth. So it's all going to change by tonight if they stay in these positions.
All right, watch this. Watch this. Look at the SunTrust 10 car. Does he get a run this time? This is where Gidley is particularly strong. Gets a little loose. Now tries to move on Fittipaldi. Does he have the legs into the inner loop? Yes is the answer. It's the second time already in 19 laps that he's pulled that move off.
And what caused the car to get loose was the dirty air spilling off the 39. He tried to make that cut from the inside to the outside to fake kind of a block kind of a maneuver, but when he did so, he came right to the disturbed air off the wing of the other car, almost spun. That would have been catastrophic.
Brian.
Checked in with Wayne Taylor. Even before that incident, I asked about the 10 car being loose, that we'd seen Memo sliding the car around. He said, yeah, it is a little loose right now, but we're having to run pretty trimmed out. That's why you guys are seeing that straight line speed. But remember what Scott Pruitt said earlier in the day. He said, look, guys, if you start with a little push, the car comes good. But if you start loose, you're going to have a handful at the end. It'll be interesting to see what Max Angelelli has at the checkered flag.
Darren Law on the inside of Memo Rojas. He has been patient and persistent, and finally now it pays off. So another position to the Red Bull Brumos Porsche. What a run from Darren Law. From the back of the pack, he now runs 7th within the first 20 laps. Are we looking at perhaps the 2007 Rolex Sports Car Series champions? Since our last commercial break, John Fogarty has almost doubled his lead margin. It is now almost at 10 seconds over the second place Nick Johnson for Krone Racing, and then Memo Gidley maintains his third. Look at that, it's almost the length of the front straight here at Watkins Glen. And time ticks on, 15 minutes left in this mandatory pit stop window. Every team must stop at least once within this first 45 minutes of the race.
And I'll tell you what, that is going to play out huge for Darren Law, because all of these boys in front of him will need to pit in the next 15 minutes. So if we stay green, Darren Law will continue to hustle up Brumos Porsche around the racetrack and gain a lot of track position. Can't heap enough praise on the gold and black exchange-traded gold Lexus Riley, the AIM Autosport team. Let's hear from one of the drivers now with Chris Neville.
Lee and Brian Frizzell and Mark Wilkins had a strong run at Montreal. Bert, another strong run today. This team was a little bit lost mid-season. What was it that got you guys back on track?
Well, we just all sat down. We got working with Ian, our engineer, and he's really got these cars figured out now. And, you know, we started off the season strong. We struggled for a few rounds, but the exchange traded gold car with AIM's back, and we're happy to be where we belong.
How tough has it been for this rookie team with the compressed schedule we've had this summer?
It's a grind for sure. I mean, they've been on the road basically now for 2.5, almost 3 months. So it's tough because we don't have the testing time that we need. We're off to a test next week, so hopefully that's going to set us up for the final round in Utah.
Well, this team has only tested one other time, so now they're strong, looking for a podium finish before the season's over. Ryan?
Patrick Carpentier standing here in the Samax pits, normally in a Samax driving suit, but this weekend it's all about Nextel Cup and Busch. We call you a grand ambusher because you're going to the other side, Patrick. You having a good time? I know you were very fast in Nextel Cup practice today.
No, I'm very happy. We made some change to the car, and the Valvoline team did a good job. And we're 9th this morning, but one thing I want to say thank you to Sidgo and Samax, because when I called them on Monday, everything happened so fast. I said, hey, is it okay if I take a break this weekend? And they said, hey, for that, we're so happy, no problem, so it's good.
I know you're excited about being in those cars. You have an opportunity to do it more in the future. Are we going to miss you here?
No, I'm always going to come back here. Everywhere I go, I say, man, these cars are so much fun to drive. And I was with Bobby Labonte today, and he said the same thing. But we'll be back. I'm going to do an oval in the Busch car, and I'm going to be in the last 2 races here, so we'll be back.
Best of luck.
Nice guy, great driver, and the car that he has stepped from is certainly doing some impressive laps.
He's flying. He just ran a 108.1, which is about half a second clear of anyone. No, in fact, on that last lap was 2 seconds clear of the leader, John Fogarty, who hit traffic on that lap. So Thomas Enger has the hammer down right now.
Quick look at our Grand Am bushes, and some busy drivers this weekend, Dorse.
You know, that's a good group of guys right there. That lap speed he just ran was within the same second as the new track record. That's how fast he's going right now.
Thomas Enger enjoying being back in the Samax Pontiac Riley. We last saw him in the 6 hours of the Glen right here, but he had an early exit. As the race leader comes up on Brian Tuttle, his return to the Rolex Sports Car Series in the 7.
John Fogarty's got to be very careful in traffic right here. He's catching these guys. I'm not sure that they always are aware that that leader that's 10 seconds ahead of second place is coming.
So it's John Fogarty, Nick Johnson, Memo Gidley, Christian Fittipaldi, and Darren Law, the top 5. Law has got by Wilkins. Then it's Rojas. Enger is up to 8th. Al Haddaf is 9th. And Patrick Long has dropped to 10th. I wonder what happened there. Wonder if Enger and Long got together.
Yeah, because Inga was behind Long there for a while, and Long has now dropped behind Al Haddam as well, so there may have been some contact even. Two of the most aggressive drivers in the field, Thomas Inga and Pat Long. But look at these two guys. What a great performance by Darren Law, and we've already spoken to the 61 boys. Very happy again to be running at the front of the pack.
Drive of the day belongs to the Brumos man, Darren Law. Let's hear from another Brumos driver, the man behind the famous 59.
Hurley, so much history with this team at this racetrack. I know the 58 team has felt a little bit snake bit, but they're having a great run today. What would it mean for that team to kind of get the monkey off their back with a good finish here?
That would be fantastic. You know, coming here, we've been with Bob Snodgrass for so long, and the Brumos has had such a long history at this racetrack, and for the 58 car has just had nothing but bad luck this whole entire year. So Darren is doing a great job out there. He's passing, you know, a lot of cars, and if we just hold it together, we might get a podium.
With the changes next year for you, you're just going to do the long races. You're going to have another driver for the short races. What do you think, because you're a driver, being able to kind of take that management role with the team, how do you think that's going to affect things?
Well, I was talking to Wayne Taylor this morning, and he said when I first go into that role, I'm not going to like it. But after, you know, about a couple of races, my expertise behind the wheel is going to certainly help the team do better preparation and do better race strategy.
I talked to Hurley before the race. He said they're not quite ready to release the name of the driver who will be taking over that car, but he said the deal is just about done, and he's raced with him before, and he's fast.
The Glen has been such a special place for Hurley Hayward. He won his first ever IMSA Camel GT race here back in '72 in a Porsche, of course, with the late Peter Gregg, and that was on the long course. You remember those days, Dors?
I do, and those were some fantastic days. You know, watching those cars back here, how fast they were. Of course, it was a different era, completely different set of circumstances than what we're seeing here. What we're seeing here, though, is 131 mile per hour average for these guys, and that's pretty stellar.
You were back in your prime in the mid-70s, weren't you, Dors?
Had longer hair and more of it. That's for sure.
Thomas Inga in the Samax Pontiac Riley is setting this track alight, but can anyone catch John Fogarty? Incidentally, the black armband for a car across the front decal, the Gainsco decal, is in memory to Thelma, a former staff member of Gainsco who sadly, tragically, lost her life recently. So our thoughts with Bob Stallings and all of the Gainsco employees who knew Thelma.
Welcome back to Watkins Glen and the Telmex machine in pit lane. Scott Pruitt getting behind the wheel. They're doing that mandatory stop. They're within 8 minutes of the end of that 45 minutes. This team thinks they can go the rest of the way. A lot of teams saying all they need to do is about 35 minutes of racing. Also behind him, the 19, the sister car in. Scott Pruitt, very fast stop. Tires done, just waiting for the fuel, and he is gone. Michael Valiente getting behind the wheel of the 19 car, just behind Scott Pruitt. So another quick stop here. I think this car is still on the lead lap, so this will be a good run for Valiente and Rob Finley today. But right now, the Telmex team just trying to get Scott Pruitt back out there to defend this championship lead.
I think what the Ganassi team are doing here, they're staying on the lead lap. That's the critical part. Now, if there was a yellow, everyone would dive into the pits. Remember, the 01 are now in their window to get to the checkered flag without another stop. So it's a great call by Timmy Keane and the boys.
Brian?
Calvin, I was talking to Tim Keane before the race started. He said, we need lap 30 to make it on one stop. He's 2 laps short. This is lap 28. Are they counting on a yellow, or do they actually have better mileage than they thought they were going to have in this cool weather?
Well, look at this. Look at this. Scott Pruitt is only marginally in front of the race leader. He could go down a lap here if Fogarty's momentum continues. And time is running out to meet that mandatory stop within the first 45 minutes. We're down to about 5 minutes left.
Wow, this was how close that call was. They had it put down to perfection there, Dorster. They knew how long it would take them to drive down pit lane at 45 miles an hour, and they knew how much fuel they had to put in the car. Pruitt has to keep that car up front.
He will drive the wheels off the car. You see already being defensive, going to the inside. He will do anything not to be passed. This would really hurt his chances if he goes a lap down here.
Talk about being put in the hot seat. You get straight in the car and you have to perform at your maximum. Defend, you have to be as fast as you can. You're on cold tyres, full fuel load. Scott Pruitt, the championship leader, is in the pressure seat.
He's going to do everything he can to keep Fogarty behind. That is critical. If there was a yellow when the 99 car has to pit, that would really put the 01 back in prime position.
I think Scott finally now has some tire temperature, a little bit of pressure build-up where he can be attacked these corners a little bit more. He was really a sitting duck there for that first lap.
Remember, Scott Pruitt has a full fuel load. The 99 car has got about a third of a fuel load left. So that'll make a difference in terms of potential lap speed as well.
4 minutes remain for those teams yet to make that mandatory stop. Pressure is on.
Watch the 99. He's being held up on speed. Why not pit now? He's only got 4 minutes. I think we'll see him go for the pit lane this time.
Does the Gainsco car come in? No. Another lap around for Fogarty, our race leader.
They don't want to cut it too close, though. If you go yellow and the pace car gets dispatched, remember, it's when the 45-minute mark is up, you have to be in pit lane. You would be DQ'd immediately. I'd be surprised if they go more than this lap.
It looked like Fogarty shook the car back and forth on pit straight, and he's lost ground to Pruitt.
He has a 10.5-second lead over Nick Johnson, and then this man here, Mamo Gidley, who has had a very entertaining opening stanza.
Now remember, the key is you want to stay out as long as you can on those hot tires. If you pit a lap early, the other guy's going to stay out there. He's going to do a lap on hot tires, probably 3 or 4 seconds a lap faster. That will be the gap that you're left to chase. And here we are, talking about chase, the 31 car is off.
And this will bring a caution out. Watch what happens now. This will definitely bring a caution. He's in the left-hander in the gravel trap. And there's no way he's going to drive out of that mess right there. They'll be looking for the leader for that pace car to come out.
Well, they don't want to hurt the leader. By that, they'll be very careful when and where the pace car is dispatched. Everyone needs to hit pit lane. Well, not everyone, but certainly half the field within the next 2 minutes or so.
Second full course yellow flies in the space of 34 laps here at the Glen. Race leader is on pit road. Brian.
Fogarty brings the car to a stop on the marks. He has been spectacular in qualifying this year. We've already talked about it. Now they need to be spectacular with this driver change and pit stop. Remember, they had the problem with the wheel gun at Montreal. That set them well back. They were 10th going into the final quarter of the race. Ended up still with a good podium finish. They cannot afford any mistakes right here. Crew going to work. No problems today. Gurney behind the wheel, waiting for the fuel. The car's down. Holding him, waiting for the full load. They've got him. He's gone.
Well, they had a nice buffer, but meanwhile, Darren Law is shot to the front along with the 39 car, which I believe will need to be on pit lane also.
Chris?
Calvin, Darren Law brought the Red Bull machine to pit lane here. David Donahue getting behind the wheel. This team has really had the strategy played out the way that they wanted since they had to start at the back. They came in, they did that mandatory stop. Now this is the final stop they'll need. So now they're back on with everybody else, but they're having a great run here today. David Donahue down and away.
Now they would not have stopped unless this caution period is out. Everyone else is going to be hitting pit lane anyway. The 58 car just came in to get that driver change done under caution period.
39 is serviced. The 61 AIM Autosport Lexus, it's out as well. Brian.
John Fogarty looking at the timing sheet right now. John, great drive, but there at the end when Pruitt got out in front of you, did he actually have the legs on you there, or were you just holding back because you knew you were coming to pit road?
We knew we were in our window, so I wasn't going to do anything stupid. I figured if we almost have a whole lap on him, we were going to be safe if we came in for our pit stops. But the old Red Dragon's running pretty good today. Alex should have a fun time out there.
You heard him. He should have a fun time, and yes, indeed, it is fast, guys.
Got a good race on our hands here. Lots to play out from here on in. We're under full course caution. The second here at Watkins Glen. We'll tell you more when we come back. You're watching Sports Cars on Speed. Speed's coverage of the Rolex Sports Car Series is brought to you by Ruby Tuesday. Simple, fresh American dining from start to finish. And by Porsche. Porsche, there is no substitute. We are back at the Glen. If you've just joined us, welcome everybody. Rolex Sports Car Series here on Speed. We're under our second full course caution. And we will make the most of this while there's a little quiet time to bring you this week's Ruby Tuesday Recipe for Success with Chris Neville.
Typically in the Ruby Tuesday Recipe for Success, we talk about the specifics of a racetrack. But after Montreal, we've got 9 points separating first from third and only 3 races left. This championship is so hot, someone's going to get burned.
For us and the whole Telmex team, we just got to go out and get with it. Not to say that we've been playing it cautiously, but we've been playing it real smart. You can't afford tearing a car up. You can't afford getting off the track. You can't afford making mistakes. I think we've done a very good job at that. At the same time, the 99 as well as the 10 have stepped up their game, had some pretty good, actually some great races, and we got to do the same thing. We got to get what we can out of every race.
We can and we intend to win this championship. It's what we started out the season with our goals as, and you know, we found ourselves back, but we can win it, and we want to win it, and we plan on winning it.
I believe in order to win the championship in the next 3 races, we have to finish ahead of the 99 and the 01. It doesn't matter where we will finish, but we must finish ahead of them. And I will be focused in putting my car, the number 10 SunTrust Racing, ahead of the 01 and 99.
All 3 teams have tripped up this season, and with only 3 races to go, you can't make a mistake. 2 teams have been here before, so who's going to come out as top dog?
We're not going down without a fight. It's going to be just a hell of a show to the end.
Either way you serve it up, this championship is looking mighty tasty.
Thanks, Chris.
He's a little hot dog.
Well, I think Chris looked good in that chef's outfit, but Dorse, you as an actor, I'm not so sure.
He was a little well done on that dog.
Muppets, didn't he?
Brian, what do you have for us? That's hard to follow,
Well,
really.
Hopefully I don't have one of those hot dogs down here. You know, we talked to Wayne Taylor earlier about the job that Memo Gidley had to do and said it was a difficult one. You certainly didn't hold back. I know you can't just go out there and drive around. You got to give Max a car in a good position, but you certainly made it exciting. Tell us about the 31.
Well, I'll tell you, the SunTrust Pontiac was absolutely ripping out there. And in the beginning of the race, I felt like a red-headed stepchild. Christian Fittipaldi was just taking advantage of me left and right. Once I settled down and got in the groove, moved some people out of the way that were, you know, driving erratically, the car was working great, and I'm happy to hand it off to Max in a good position. Our guys made up the spot in the pits, and all is great right now.
Car okay after the run-in with the 31 through the S's?
Yeah, you know, honestly, there was no place to go. The car actually feels better now than it did when I started the race. So a little tweak mid-race, and I think we're good to go to the S.
Little on-track adjustment. You think it was exciting when Memo was in the car? Keep your eyes on Max, Chris.
Well, Brian, Darren Law had a great run from the back of the pack. Darren, you got lucky with that first caution. That allowed you to do that mandatory pit stop, but then the second caution, did that help you or hurt you?
No, it didn't hurt us at all. You know, we had a great run up to 5th, and I need to say thanks to Matt and Jim and Alberto and all the guys. They worked all night. We were finishing up a motor an hour before the start of the race, but the car was really good. So we're in, what, top 5? We're ready to go to the end, so it's good.
Now, Dave Donahue was radioing to Darren, is this car good to go? Do we have something that can win this race? Darren said, car is great.
Thanks, Sheffy. Alex Gurney, Max Angelelli, Colin Brown, Scott Pruitt, Thomas Enger. What a top 5. This man here on screen, Donahue, is 6th. Then Antonio Garcia, Frizzell, Long, and Orblin. What a top 10. When we come back, you will see them tear up Watkins Glen. Welcome back to the Glen. We are about to go racing. Before we do, let's hear from Memo Rojas. He's with Brian.
Memo Rojas has had pressure on him all year long, but no more pressure than you had on today, and you answered the bell. You great job out there. Scott, have a good car. Can he win this thing?
Well, it's going to be tough. We have to trim the car a lot to be able to pass the first lap. So, the car was really good in the first half of my stint. But the second half, the car was sliding around too much. We made some changes to the pit stop, so I'm hoping the car will be better with the used tires and have a shot.
Well, as I said, he's been under pressure all year long, and he definitely answered the bell today. Lee?
Yeah, I think that was one of his, if not the strongest opening stint from the young Mexican. So well done, Memo Rojas. Points as of now. We would have a new championship leader. But that's as of now. Let's not get too carried away. There's still half of this motor race remaining.
This should be pretty interesting here. I'll tell you. Points championship right at the front.
And the top 3 in the points are in the top 4 positions. Green flag flies here at Watkins Glen. Can the SunTrust car do anything about the Gainsco machine? We will find out. They're dicing for positions. Patrick Long gets on the inside of Bert Frizzell and gains a position.
And there's Orblin in that yellow and blue car. He's coming through the pack also.
Yeah, watch for Bill. He's very aggressive on these starts. That's a typical restart. Watch it up here in the inner loop. It's going to be the same thing. The brakes on up here. They'll pop side by side. Here it goes.
Whoa, whoa. Orblin got a little loose.
That was really tight. This is BMW power under the hood of the 05 machine.
Gurney got a great restart, didn't he? Has a little margin over Angelelli already. What's Colin Brown got for us? What has Scott Pruitt got for us? He had a quick look on the inside of Colin. Mark Goosens is now in the 91 Riley Matthews machine.
Wow,
this
look
is
at
amazing.
That 99 car, just like the beginning of the race with Fogarty behind the wheel, is so quick in these early laps. It gas the competition immediately, takes the pressure off.
Look at Gurney. I just didn't think that was possible. I really thought that Angelelli was going to be right all over him, and already just under one lap, he's sitting there with 10 car lengths already.
Well, it's Pontiac Riley versus Pontiac Riley. The top three are all the same engine and chassis combination. But look at the advantage to the 99. Here goes Pruitt. Has a look at Brown. Can't quite do it. Brian.
Pruitt couldn't pull it off, but Colin Brown has to be very careful about defending his position. He's on probation right now after several run-ins on track. The last one was in Montreal with Michael Valiente. The second time those two cars have gotten together, and Mark Raffoff, director of competition, sat him down and said, look, that's your last chance. You make another mistake, you hit somebody else on the racetrack, you're going to be sitting out.
It's a scary moment. They collided at about 130, 140 miles an hour, heading down towards turn one at Montreal. Brown in a much stronger position here, but he's coming under threat from the points leader.
Well, I'd be disheartened right now if I was looking at my windshield and seeing that 99 car just leading the whole pack. It's unbelievable the speed that car.
Pruitt's putting the pressure on. We have to give a shout out to Nick Johnson, who was driving the 75 car in the opening stint. He's been feeling very under the weather since yesterday. Been a big week for Nick. His wife Elaine gave birth to their first son here. And also he made his Busch debut last week at Montreal with a tremendous job leading some laps there. So a lot going on in his world right now.
Did very well up there in Montreal, that's for sure. 1.9 seconds is the lead margin after 2 flying laps. How about that? Inside move here. David Donahue, that's not for position. It's on Andy Lally, who's a little further down the order after taking over from Rob Dyson. We ride with Donahue now. He's currently in 6th. Gurney, Angelelli, Brown, Pruitt, and Enger. Top 5. Keep your eye on that Samax car.
Things settled down a little bit. Enger was laying down some really strong laps in the opening going. Right now, I'm not sure whether the pit stop changes there have made any difference, but Enger right now does not have his initial pace, but maybe it'll come to him. He was certainly very fast, Dorsey, about 30 minutes into his first stint.
And of course, we're riding with Bill Oberlin, and we're going to watch this car too. We know he's magic behind the wheel as he's trying to move the car forward. A lot of vibration as he run on a lot of high-speed track here. Like I said, it's 131 mile per hour average.
The great section there, Dorsey. Those last 2 corners, you really float the car through those. Quick transition back to the left to set up for that fast right-hander. Here comes Oberlin.
BMW versus Lexus down into turn 1 here at the Glen, and he can't get it done. Whoa, Bert Frizzell gets a little sideways and catches it.
Frizzell really late on the brakes there, and Oberlin, we know, is willing to stuff it down the inside. Oberlin there looks a bit twitchy up through the S's.
Andy Lally enjoying one of his few runs in a Daytona prototype aboard the Porsche-powered Crawford.
BMW power plant seems to have good top end.
Chris?
Well, Lee, that team, that single sport team, looking to try and bounce back after some tough weekends, and their primary engineer is not here this weekend. He is at Road America, the American Le Mans race. Matthew Alhalda was very vocal after qualifying, feeling that the team was not making some great decisions. But Bill Oberlin having a good run here this afternoon. This team hoping for a little bit of break after this race, and then out to the West Coast, where that's their home.
Gets it done. Position made. Oberlin moves up to 9th.
Look who's right behind these guys. Mark Goosen, who had that great podium finish alongside Jim Matthews at Montreal. He's been strong all weekend long in the 91 Silver Machine.
It's Gurney at the front to the tune of 3 seconds. Can Max the Axe do anything about it? Speed's coverage of the Rolex Sports Car Series is brought to you by Ruby Tuesday. Simple, fresh American dining from start to finish. And by Lexus and their pursuit of perfection. Welcome back to the Glen, everybody. Lee Diffie, Calvin Fish, Dorsey Schrader, Brian Till, and Chris Neville enjoying the Rolex Sports Car Series 12th round of 14. And you are watching yet another dominant display from the Gainsco gang. Bob Stalling's men The team, the drivers, are unstoppable yet again. 4.5 seconds out in front. Dorsey, this is something else.
If they're going to win the championship, this is exactly what they have to do. They have to win all the rest of the races. They know it too, so they're really not looking back in the rearview mirror. They're just hammered down, trying to win every single race.
There's the gap. It's now 4.7 seconds. While we're away, Oswaldo Negri ran into trouble down into turn 1, or did trouble run into him? We will find out. We've got some replays. It was he and Michael Valiente fighting over 11th place. Let's see what happened.
Well, two cars look awfully similar. That was Ozzy to the inside. And really was alongside pretty good. We'll take another look here. This is the break point down into turn 1.
Notice there, though, Valiente had already rolled off the brakes. You saw the brake lights release on the 19 car. You roll off the brakes there, Dorsey, and float a lot of speed through the corner, so Valiente had already committed.
I don't think he really even knew he was in there. Right. You're right. You brake and you get off the brake and turn in and let the thing scrub down. That's what he was doing when they made contact.
Dramas for one of our top 5 cars. The 11 Samax car is in. Brian, tell us more.
Unfortunately, we saw this at the 6 hour. Right now, there was some damage to the right front that happened out on the racetrack, but the big problem back in the engine compartment. Lost 2 cylinders on the racetrack. They don't know why, but you can't race in this series with a 6-cylinder, guys. They're down 2. They're going to have to park it.
After such a promising run, good start from Chris Zakaris, great job from Thomas Enger. But let's get back to it, because there's some fabulous racing out on track, not necessarily for the podium positions, but further back in the pack. Antonio Garcia, then Bill Auberlen, then Patrick Long, Mark Goosens. This is good racing.
Different engine combinations right now. Bill Auberlen has BMW power, there's Porsche power behind the Ruby Tuesday machine. And then Goosens in that silver 91 has shown tremendous pace this weekend with the Pontiac motor.
It looks like Auberlen actually is going to get some help from those guys. Going to catch Garcia. He's not that far behind.
Speaking of the Spaniard, Antonio Garcia, he took over from Christian Fittipaldi. Let's hear from the Brazilian now.
Christian, in those opening laps, we saw the great battle with you in the 10 car. You passed him twice, but because of where that car is in the championship, are you a little bit more cautious around it?
No, absolutely no way. I'm obviously racing him fair as I'm racing all the other guys, but I don't have nothing to do with those guys. So I wish them all the best, but I'm not going to race them any different. I'm going to try as hard to put the Crown Royal as much as I can to the front of the pack, and that's it, too.
Well, they're coming off that great finish. 4th at Montreal. Christian Fittipaldi and Antonio Garcia having a very busy month. Next weekend, they're off to the Spa 1000 to race the Aston Martin.
Oh, look at Goosens. Thought about it on the inside of Patrick Long. They're chasing Antonio Garcia, former world karting champion, former winner of the World Series by Nissan. And after his open wheelers, he tested a Minardi Formula 1 car. He went to sports cars. He said, I needed to carve a career out when I knew I couldn't make it to F1. Well, welcome to the Rolex Series, Antonio. He's doing well.
Tell you what, I like to watch Goosens drive, though. I mean, he's so aggressive. He's very, very talented. When he gets behind the wheel of that car, he's a contender to get it up to the front, no doubt.
We saw once again Garcia having to defend. That car does not seem to have good straightaway speed here on the Watkins Glen short course, and maybe the aero setup.
Look how dark it's getting back here. This is the short section that goes between where the long course picks up and the short course goes over to the straightaway, and it's very dark in that valley.
Battle is about to get tasty.
There are some blistering lap times being laid down. Alex Gurney, Max Angelelli, they're within 5, 6, 7 tenths of qualifying time, Dorse.
And no lights on here at Watkins Glen, I should say. This was not going to run into the dark, but it will tonight. So the headlights on these automobiles will be all the lighting they have. As you see Goosens make the pass from Auberlen.
He's flying. He'd already got by Pat Long on the previous lap. Now takes another position. He'll set his sights on Garcia, and we'll have to see how that Pontiac motor compares. Same engine in the purple and gold machine as well as the silver, but there may be a downforce issue with that Fab car.
Oh, here he comes. The goose is loose. He's going to look.
He has his mum and dad. He has his girlfriend's mum and dad here. In fact, there are 16 guests from Belgium here to watch Mark Goosens try and repeat his form of Montreal last weekend, where he put the Riley Matthews Pontiac machine on the podium. Big smile on his face still this weekend here at the Glen. He said it was so nice to be up where I should be, running with the best in this series, showing them what I can do.
You have to give a shout out to his teammate Jim Matthews. He had a great qualifying run here yesterday. putting the car 7th on the grid. So Jim has really got his head down as well, did a great opening stint.
I don't think Antonio Garcia has the car to hold Goossens off. I really don't. It's a matter of time. I think he'll take him right here.
Down into turn 1, into the brake zone. Mark Goossens on the left of your screen. Another one off his list. Goossens is now in the top 6.
About a 4-second gap between Goossens right now and the next man who will be in his targets, and that's David Donahue in the 58 car.
We saw a spin to the 60 earlier of Oswaldo Negri Jr. Here's our race leader, Alex Gurney. Tell us more about the 60.
Mark Patterson had great runs the last couple of races, but a little problem today, Mark. What happened early in the going?
Well, we had a big oops, as you know, going into the bus stop, and a lot of dirt was thrown out there. A little bit was left over. I picked some of that up on my tires, got on the power way too quickly, spun it around, and they don't call us amateurs to insult us. They're just trying to call us what we are, and I made an amateur move.
Well, very successful business tycoon, pretty successful race car driver, but you have other hobbies as well. Show us some of your work.
Well, I like to try to sketch men's faces, never a woman. So I did a picture of one of your partners, Calvin Fish. Oh, wait a minute, that's J.C. Franz. Hang on. Calvin Fish right here. I hope you like it, Calvin.
That's beautiful, mate. Just wait.
That's pretty good. I've seen real photos that look worse than that.
I've been stitched up more times in the last couple of weeks.
You know it's only through love, mate.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh! Valiente has gone.
That's down in turn 1 again, the outside of turn 1.
Whoa.
Oh, now he's lost complete control of himself for a moment.
Gets it going, and through goes Oswaldo Negri, so he gets the position back that he lost.
That's aggravating. You do that. You know, you just want to keen to get going again, and you jump on the throttle and then spin out another time. You got to take a deep breath right now and get yourself back in the mode of racing.
Here's the replay, and we understand there was contact with Bert Frizzell. See it for yourself.
Well, he's clearly alongside Calvin, but look here.
Yeah, Bert just didn't give him any room. I mean, Michael had to squeeze the car down, and just a racing incident. I mean, Michael made a great move there, but Bert was certainly floating through the corners. We said you just carry a lot of mid-corner speed there in turn 1. It's still a pretty quick corner, even though it is the slowest one on the racetrack.
And the rest of that, of course, is just the frustration ensued. You hate that when it happens.
That was for a top 10 position, and now Valiente drops down to about 13th. Here's Orbelin on Garcia, gets through the Seagull Sport BMW.
Got a little wiggle there in the brake zone. Good job of gathering it up and not locking the tire. Now he will open up that gap and try to run forward.
And now Patrick Long wants a shot at Garcia as well.
And I talked about the aero balance possibly, but let's not forget the team have been reporting a misfire on that Fab car chassis, so certainly that could be an issue still with the 39 car.
Chris, tell us more about Long.
Well, before that last caution, Pat Long was telling the team how nervous the car was under braking. Alex Job is speculating that the car had probably a little bit of a toe issue because of the contact that Collard had with Tracy Crone on those opening laps. So during that caution, they did throw a little bit larger wicker on the rear of the car, trying to settle it down. Pat Long saying the car is very good right now. So this team hoping to move forward, improve from what happened at Montreal. This race, Jort Bergmeister not here because of scheduling conflict. It looks like he's not going to be at Infineon 2 because of that same conflict. Now there is some speculation. Who is Pat Long's teammate going to be at Infineon? Some are speculating it could be Mike Rockenfeller.
Stay tuned on that one. Find out who will be in the Ruby Tuesday machine. A quick reminder, tomorrow the ARCA Remax Series rides into Nashville for the final Music City performance. It's live, that's the important thing, live 3:30 Eastern tomorrow here on Speed, and we'll see if former Rolex Sports Car Series race winner Michael McDowell continue his championship quest. We wish him well. You see the green and blue car at the top of your screen, that's Colin Brown sitting in third, good strong run. It was a terrific start from his Swedish teammate Nick Jonsson. Let's hear from Nick now.
Nick Jonsson, always very fast at Watkins Glen. Nick, you handed the car over to Colin. Do you have anything to do battle with the 99?
Well, the 99 car has been very, very fast, the last 6-7 races, and he was a little bit quicker than me today as well. We were a little loose, but he was just a little quicker everywhere. But I was, happy to be able to deliver the car in the second place to Colin, and hopefully we can, get a podium out of this here.
Well, we talked a little bit on air at Montreal about your new job, and that is Dad. How is your new job?
It's fantastic. It's unbelievable to have a little son back home there. That's my lovely wife Helen taking care of right now, obviously. But I can't wait to get back home tomorrow to see him again.
Another very fast race car driver coming in along in the next few years, Lee.
And again, it is a Pontiac Riley. It's 1, 2, and 3. That combination swept the podium at Barber Motorsports Park, then at Montreal. If they stay where they are, it would be the 3rd consecutive race this year. The 6th Playboy car for Mike Shank Racing is in the pits. Ian James was fringing on the top 10. It was a good strong run, but that has now been halted.
Yeah, they're pulling that rear deck off, so they got problems in the engine bay compartment. Take a look at the drivers' faces inside these cockpits of these cars, and you'll realize that the sun right now is shining straight in their face. When you can see their face illuminated, they can't see a thing. And you're going to see that at the end of the straightaway. It's pretty difficult when you turn on the old turn 5. As soon as you make that right-hand turn and head toward the left-hander, you're right smack in the light.
This is championship points leader Scott Pruitt. However, I should stress that if positions stay as they are right now, we're inside the final 20 laps here at Watkins Glen, we will have a new championship leader heading to the next round at Infineon Raceway in Sonoma, and it will be Max Angelelli. He will reverse how things are right now. Pruitt came into this round with a 2-point lead. Angelelli would go to California with a 2-point lead with only 2 races remaining. It's tight. Goosens, can he catch Donahue for 6th? The Riley Matthews machine. Let's hear from Bill himself.
Bill, you had a great weekend, podium back at Montreal. We always see good drives out of Mark Goosens, but it's really been Jim Matthews who's stepped up these past couple races. What has happened with Jim the second half of this year?
Well, I think that we got the car a lot better, a lot more comfortable for him. He's just really driving hard. He's really working hard at becoming a better driver, and he's really doing quite well.
Now, looking on the manufacturer side, we're coming to that point where we're going to start seeing these next generation cars. How is your car coming?
It's coming pretty well. We're going to do the submission in September, September 1st. But the guys are back at the shop right now working really hard on it.
Good luck today.
Thank you.
Down at the 6 team, it looks like a problem. A wire has dropped loose off of the frame rail and down onto the header system. There was a small fire in here, but they're going to have to get that sorted out. It actually looked like one of the leads, one of the hot leads, so it was sparking a little bit and a little bit of a fire. They've got that out. Crew's working to see if they can get the 6 back out on track, but serious damage to the wiring system down there on the left side of the engine.
Last time around, as we climb on board with Patrick Long, he sits in the top 10 in 9th. Last lap around, Gurney and Angelelli at the front. Very similar lap times in the mid-107s. And Angelelli has Gurney's lead down now to 4.4 seconds. But it's questionable whether Alex is just cruising, maintaining that. But he's not cruising with a 107.6, Dorsey. That is a quick time.
It is indeed. You've got a good shot at Pat Long right there, watching his eyes as the sun glared into them. It's pretty hard around this place this time of night. Like I say, if it gets completely dark, there are no lights here. Another issue altogether.
I want to revisit a point that Chris made there with the Bill Riley interview about Jim Matthews improving. We should give a shout out to an old friend of both, or all of ours, I should say, Barry Waddell, who's assisting with some driver coaching there of Jim, an old Skip Barber boy.
Yeah, and actually Jim was an old Skip Barber boy too. Jim came through Skip Barber, and I taught with him, and so did Barry. And Barry's working as a driver coach, and you need that. You really do. I mean, it's really good for a guy like Jim Matthews to have someone critique and go out there and say, okay, you can do this a little bit better if you do it this way.
The other thing that Mark Goosens told me, he said they got back to basics. They started to get too far away from the normal setup. He said Bill Riley hands out all the Riley teams a standard setup sheet, and he said we're looking at the qualifying grid, looking at race results, and these guys are beating us. So he said, what are we doing here? So they went back to basics, and they've really found a lot more pace in the 91 car.
That's one of the really good things of working with a manufacturer like Riley, because they do, in fact, give you setup sheets. They do go from team to team, even though they have their own car. The 91 is an in-house effort. They still help all the rest of the guys with setup or anything else they need.
15 laps to go. You're riding with Patrick Long in the Ruby Tuesday Porsche Crawford, trying to work some magic on the Pontiac-powered fab car of Antonio Garcia for Chiva Racing. Spoke with Eddie Chiva earlier today. He's very pleased with the improved performance of the fab car and the Pontiac power plant, and is really excited about the 2008 season. Long is making grounds here.
Here he comes, Porsche power. going up against the Pontiac. Certain irony there is that Cheever just switched from the Porsche power, but we do know there may be some troubles under the hood of that 39 machine in terms of a slight misfire.
We also know after Montreal last week about Antonio Garcia. He's not going to lay down. This guy really is a scrapper. He's a good race car driver.
He said to me earlier that I'm just learning. It's early days. I'm used to racing in the Le Mans Endurance Series, where I'm in the Aston Martin, completely different cars, of course. And he said at Montreal, when I was in the thick of it, he said it was like doing a qualifying lap. It was like a touring car, like a world touring car race. I was getting hit from every side, front, rear, left, right. He said it was so intense. He said I thoroughly enjoyed it, but I've still got a lot to learn. And that comes from a former world karting champion and a very handy open-wheeler driver. He's enjoying being in the Rolex series.
Welcome back to Watkins Glen. Problems for the 61 machine. Bert Frizzell has had an off at the inner loop, full course caution period, and this is really going to shake this race up, Dorsey.
It surely will. This is our third full course, and that big lead that you saw Alex Gurney have, well, now it won't be there. Max Angelelli will be right up behind him. This is the inner loop at the exit, and we haven't seen what's caused the car to be off there yet, but of course he's spun in the gravel. He's stuck there. He's going to be towed back on. But the full course yellow will really change the complexity of this race.
Well, we have to wonder what the leader are thinking about this. Gurney had a nice cushion over the 10 SunTrust machine. Probably a little bit different emotion down in the pit lane, Brian.
Bob Stallings just stepped down off the pit box. Bob, this is not what you guys wanted to see for sure, but we had noticed too that the pace had slowed a little bit on Alex. Was he just conserving the car, or is everything okay?
Basically traffic issues. He was getting hung up a couple of times out there. Our pace is excellent. We're running 2-3 cars quicker than the 10 car, but we really weren't looking for that yellow for sure.
You're right where you need to be. You need to be in front of the 10 car. If you win every race for the rest of the season, you're going to win that championship. And the car's been so good on restarts. You got to be concerned, though, about Angelelli right behind you on this one.
You always got to be careful when Max is on your rear end. And we have a tremendous amount of respect for Max, but he's they don't call him the axe for nothing. So we'll keep our eyes up. We'll be okay.
Well, Alex Gurney's going to have one eye out the windshield and one in the mirror, Chris.
Well, what hurts Alex Gurney is a benefit to you guys. Now, how hard is Max going to run on this restart, Wayne?
Well, I think as hard as he's been before. I don't think that it's a disadvantage for Alex and an advantage for us. I think it puts us back in the same boat, because really, if Max can't get by him into turn one, then we're gonna end up like we were now. I think if you look at the times, they're matching each other. I think Gurney's got about a tenth or two over Max on a clear lap, but his only shot is into turn one.
With where you are in the championship, how aggressive can Max be?
I don't think we really need to be aggressive, but I think he knows that that's the only way he's going to get by. And if we don't get by, then if we can come out in this position, we'd be looking good, and we'd have to do more work when we get to CS Point.
Well, we saw a great run to the checker at Montreal. I think we're going to see another good run here today.
Jeff Hazel talking to Nick Johnson about the strategy on the 75 car. He said, wait just a second. We're trying to get this worked out. Jeff, 75, Colin's running great right now, but we know he's been in a little trouble, or a little foul of the law, so to speak, with Mark Raffoff, the director of competition. He knows the championship is right there in front of him. Do you tell him to go for it on this restart and bring this team their first victory, or do you have him be respectful and sit back?
Well, I'm sure he'll press pretty hard, yeah. We'll have to wait and see, won't we?
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Jeff's got work to do, guys, so we'll let him go, but I think they want that first win.
We're going to have a 10-lap shootout. And what happens with a 10-lap shootout for the drivers, they all know what they have to do. They're going to tighten their belts. They're going to get a sip of water right now, cool themselves down, and get ready for what's going to be war.
Speaking of a sip of water, Lee, you're back. I haven't choked on your Marmite sandwich. You okay?
I'm good. I'm good. I don't like Marmite. I prefer Vegemite. Right? Exactly. We will squeeze in a quick break. Make the most of it while we're under this yellow. Don't go away. This will be a thrilling end to round 12 of the Rolex Sports Car Series. We are back at Watkins Glen for a thrilling run to the checkered flag. Max Angelelli sits behind Alex Gurney. As they stand right now, this man here is the new championship leader. If they finish as they are, that is highly unlikely. Angelelli needs to set up a move and execute it immediately on Alex Gurney if he's to stand any chance. Right here, right now as the green flag flies for perhaps the final time. Is Angelelli close enough? Down into turn one, no is the answer. But boy, he's pushed it in there deep.
Colin Brown clears traffic there. There you see pressure put on Pruitt as well. Currently running in fourth. David Donahue behind the wheel of the 58 machine.
For Angelelli, he's got to be able to do something about the fact that the 99 outran him last time.
And it is getting dark here at Watkins Glen. The iris of our television cameras, it tells a bit of a lie because actually outside it is more dark than what you see at home on your TV. It is tough for these guys.
To the inside, takes that position Donahue. That was aggressive, Dorsey.
That was 3 wide when he made the maneuver, when he just, and they're really close here. When he decided to go inside, they were side by side, 3 deep.
Talk about threading the needle. Mark Goosens on a charge.
He's up into the top 5 now, Mark Goosens.
Oh, look at Colin Brown. Colin Brown wants a piece of Angelelli, and he's been warned if he makes contact with another car, he doesn't only get penalized, he gets set down. He doesn't race the next race.
And again, Gurney has done it. First flying lap. What's the margin? 1 full second. Incredible.
That car gets up to speed so quickly, it just seems to be more compliant on cold tires, Dorsey, and that's a great advantage to have.
Yeah, it might even be a gearing issue, Calvin. I'm not sure. I mean, it is able to leap away from the field and open up a second lap lead for the first 3 or 4 laps. Colin Brown there is not going to have an easy way with Max Angelelli. Max is not going to lay down on this.
Brian?
You talk about the speed on the restarts for the 99. I was standing down with Wayne Taylor on the last full course caution, and when it went back to green, he shook his head and looked at me and said, how? How can they do that? How can they get such a jump and have such a lead after 1 lap? A lot of people are wondering, and Wayne Taylor right now, very frustrated as a team owner.
Inside 10 laps to go.
I'm really wondering if he's got a tricky first gear in there, Calvin, that really, a real tall one where he can just get that squirt off and not have to shift as quick.
But it's not just the start, Dorsey. It's just the whole first couple of laps. He's just got so much pace over the rest of the field. There you see Jeff Gordon, who shared the SunTrust machine at Daytona earlier in the season and really enjoyed it.
He's an interested looker-oner. You know, that 24 hours a day Daytona is not that far off. These guys really like going in there and try to win a championship.
Is that the same as onlooker, though?
Yeah, kind of the same. What did I say?
Looker-honor?
Looker-honor?
Gurney, Angelelli, Brown, top 3, then Pruitt, and the fast, hard-charging Mark Goosens, David Donahue, Garcia, Aublin is 8, Long is 9, Negri is 10. Chris?
Well, Jeff Gordon down here watching the team that you ran with at the 24. Jeff, have you been paying attention to the season at all?
Yeah, whenever I get a chance, I've definitely been paying attention. Obviously, I saw last weekend's win. I called Wayne and those guys right away because I was so excited for them to get that win. That 99 car's been tough this year. Anytime you get a chance to get a win on those guys, you're really doing something. And I hope they found what they've been missing and, running good here. It looked like on that long run they were good. It just, the 99 kind of gapped them there at the beginning. But, I think Max is an amazing driver. I love watching him, and it's a real privilege for me to be a part of this SunTrust team earlier in the year.
I know you had fun running with the team at the Rolex 24. Are you going to be back in 2008?
I don't know. We have to see the schedule. The problem I had is that we had a test in Las Vegas the following 2 days after that 24-hour race, and I didn't sleep much. And I paid the price for a good 2 weeks after that. So, I would love to come back and run if they would like me to. Just because I feel like I learned so much, and the more laps I got, the better I was. And I need to run more laps in the rain, too, because I was out of my element there. But I think I could get back in and go faster the next time and be a better teammate for these guys and maybe get us further up on the podium. But I can't have a 2-day test after that in a Cup car, no way.
Well, we've seen a lot of Nextel Cup drivers down here in pit lane talking to teams. Juan Montoya was also over at the 01 earlier cheering on those boys.
Yeah, I told you he was a good looker-honor.
Well, it shows you when you're a multiple Nextel Cup champion, you still say, I've got a lot to learn about a new discipline. What a guy. We'll be back. Closing stages of round 12 of the Rolex Sports Car Series, the Crown Royal 200 here at the Glen, and Angelelli is coming back. That margin is down to 9/10 of a second. Max, the axe, has not given up.
He has no give up in him. Not when he can see. When you can see the guy, when you see your adversary right out in front of you, and you know what it's about, you go after him.
But get this, Bill Aublin and Mark Goosens are 2/10 quicker than these boys, so there's a lot of fast cars right behind this lead pack.
Laps are running out for Angelelli's challenge. But if he keeps eating into it the way he has the past 2 laps on Alex Gurney, there is still hope for Max Angelelli.
And this is huge right here. Scott Pruitt needs every point he can muster here today, and right now he's got the fast Mark Goosens coming up quickly.
Well, Pruitt needs to get ahead of Colin Brown, get some more points. He doesn't need to lose more points. As they stand right now, Pruitt, it's a 4-point swing. He goes from a 2-point lead to a 2-point deficit.
And of course, the guys he's racing against are both in front of him. That's something he doesn't want either.
Considering where this car started, it is a great result nonetheless. From 14th to 4th. Good opening run from Memo Rojas, and Pruitt has done the rest.
The sparks flying there from the skid plate underneath the chassis as Pruitt ran the curbing coming off at turn 1. Goosens is a great run here. Memo Rojas talked about they trimmed out the 0-1 car. They had to have some straightaway speed. Looks pretty good.
Incidentally, Gurney responded that last lap. He put 0.2 of a second on top of Angelelli to take it back over 1 second.
Pruitt in the seat now. I mean, he needs to stay in front of Goosens. He needs actually to get by Colin, but I don't know that he's got enough car to do it. I don't really think he does. I think the real problem he's got is Goosens.
There's the leader, there's Gurney, there's Angelelli. Here comes Pruitt. He thinks about it, but he's not close enough on Colin Brown.
In the back of the picture, you saw the flash of the yellow and blue machine of Bill Aublin. Again, he laid the fastest lap of the race, I believe, down on that last lap. He's flying too.
It is Pontiac Riley, 1, 2, and 3. Then Alexis Riley. Then another Pontiac Riley.
And they're all flashing the headlights at each other. Pruitt's trying to say to Colin Brown, hey, man, I'm in this championship. You're not in the championship chase. Let me by. I need to get those guys in front of you. Colin's saying, fat chance.
4 laps to go here at the Glen. Brian, tell us more about the 01.
Just noticing guys, Pruitt losing ground to Colin Brown through the last corner on the front straightaway. Pretty quick corner, downforce is an issue there. And I know the 01 is running trimmed out. So while it gives you the straightaway speed, it takes away that cornering speed. And I think that is what may be hampering Scott Pruitt right now.
It also takes away the braking ability to some degree in these really hard brake zones. All the passes here are always made under heavy braking from high speed to lower speed.
I'll tell you what, though, at the beginning of the day, if you'd said to Scott Pruitt starting 14th on the grid with that car, would you take 4th place? I guarantee you'd have shook your hand right there and then.
Yeah, you're right about that. It looked pretty bleak for him after that crash early on, took him out of the practice.
It is the only car, the only Daytona prototype in this field that has finished in the top 10 in every single race. That's consistency. That's what Chip Ganassi with Felix Sabates is all about. The Telmex car will be in it right to the end. 3 to go now here at the Glen.
The other thing you have to think about, Brian mentioned that the 01 is not as fast through that final corner. That's where he crunched the car earlier in the weekend, Dorsey. You know, as a driver, you always have that little negative thought in the back of your mind.
And we talked about how uncharacteristic it is as you see these guys get squirrely under braking. For someone like Scott Pruitt of his caliber to make a mistake, it shows how hard he's trying. But they had to sit out 2 sessions, the one that he crashed in, and the car wasn't prepared for the next, so they're really behind the 8 ball.
Patrick Long is not giving up on grabbing 8th place from Antonio Garcia at Chiva Racing. Less than 3 laps to go now. There has never been a repeat winner in the short course race here at the Glen in the Rolex Series Daytona prototype era. Terry Borchella and Forrest Barber won the first one in 03. Magnussen and Tays won it in 04. Taylor and Angelelli won it in 05. And Pruitt and Diaz won it last year. Is it going to be Fogarty and Gurney? Their names up there this year? I think so.
Garcia's a scrapper, boy. He doesn't want to give up. I think that for sure the 39 does not have the straightaway speed. He falls victim every time they get up there by the inner loop, but he is driving the wheels off the car.
This car has come on gangbusters. Ian Watt has done a tremendous job basically redesigning this fab car chassis. They immediately showed some gains in speed, and they've got more work planned for the off-season.
Chris?
Well, Lee, we talked earlier about the problems that Pat Long was having in her braking, and he said since the team did put a bigger gurney on the back of that car, it is definitely more comfortable under braking, but he's lost a bunch of straightaway speed. So while he's got a better car to drive, he just can't get down the straightaway and catch up with Garcia.
Oswaldo Negri's right there on the 23. He'll be looking.
Here comes Oz. Patrick was a wake-up to it, though. Defended the inside line into the inner loop. Time is running out. Talk about a driver who doesn't give up. Keep your eyes on that orange and black car, the 60 Lexus. Look at this for the lead. Angelelli has a shot. Brown dives, goes on the inside.
What a move he made. He got on the inside. They did rub, no question. Colin Brown's got the second place.
There had to be some traffic there involved in the previous corner to bunch these guys up like that.
And that has helped Pruitt enormously. 1 lap to go here at the Glen. Angelelli comes back on the inside. It's down into the braking zone.
They touch. They touch.
Max the Axe slices on the inside and Brown is gone.
This time it's Colin Brown's turn to take the ride as he was on the outside. Wrong place to be. Max roughed him up.
How about that?
Huge. Championship implications.
And
dodged the bullet.
Pruitt is right there. He's lost momentum, Angelelli has, after that skirmish.
It takes all the pressure off the Gainsco boys, but look at this. The two guys at the top of the championship see each other now. The top 3 in the championship are now the top 3 in the race.
Wouldn't take much, Calvin, not barely much at all, to put one of these cars around backwards. They're driving them right at the edge.
Here comes Goosens. He's got nothing to lose in this championship. He's going to be aggressive. Does he have anything for Pruitt? Very tough to pass coming down to this left-right combination, though.
Well, not much time left to do it. This is the left-hander, short straight to the right-hander on the pit straight. It'll be over.
6th win of the season. No one has ever won the 6 Hours of the Glen in the short course race in the same year. But Gurney and Fogarty do. The Gainsco gang do it again. Win number 6. Angelelli and Gidley grab 2nd. And Pruitt and Rojas 3rd. How about that? Brian.
6 wins for the 99 and Bob Stallings, and you look a little more relieved than the last time we talked to you, but that last lap, very scary there.
It really was. We were looking at the telemetry, and all of a sudden something was going on, and you obviously couldn't see it, but fortunately he came across the line in first place with plenty of room to spare.
And visibility right now, I don't think our television cameras do it justice, but it is dark down here. You've driven one of these prototypes. How difficult is it right now for Alex to see?
Right now, it's very, very tough to hit your marks. I mean, right about this time of the day, it's off. Actually, a little darker is actually better.
Congratulations, Bob. And the championship complexion, it is a changing, Lee.
Oh, guess what? We have got a tied championship, boys, with 2 to go. Hey, let's take you back to turn 1 with 1 lap to go. Check this out. Angelelli on the inside.
Hard down the inside, and Colin squeezes him and takes the pay. He gets the big one as a result. Max was not going to have any of that. We'll have another look at it. I mean, Colin Brown tried to make that pass not happen by squeezing him, and Max, the Axe, has nothing of it.
Well, Colin had already made the position, so Max was coming back at him. It looked really close there to Pruitt. The other angle showed differently.
Let's go on board the 10. Dorsey, talk us through.
I'll tell you what, here we go. Here goes Max. He's going to make the commitment up the inside. He's got the room to do it. Colin squeezes him. That's where they made contact. I got to wonder if Mark Raffoff's going to park this young man. That is something he was told not to do, explicitly told, do not make contact with another car. Well, he almost took out the second place car.
Let's go inside the SunTrust camp. Chris?
Well, Wayne Taylor talking with his driver over the radio quite a bit. Wayne, I know how bad you want to win races, but the championship is tied.
Yeah, it really is. I don't really know what happened on that last lap. I mean, it was very difficult to see what exactly had happened. But yeah, you know, I think now we share the points lead with the 01 car, and that's as good as we're going to do it for today, and that's fine. We have 2 races to go.
Well, obviously, Wayne Taylor is concerned about the contact that happened in turn 1, but Dorsey, you said it looked like Colin Brown squeezed him pretty hard.
Yeah, he did indeed, and he's on probation. I don't get it. He's just not sinking in or something.
Boy.
Yeah, but it's the last lap of the race,
Yeah,
you know. I mean,
true.
you're going to defend Dorsey.
Yeah, I mean, he gave it his all there, but it's the last 3 races in a row that we've been looking at.
We knew this one was going to be good. What a finish. What a finish here at Watkins Glen. We'll be back to hear what the drivers thought about it. Speed's coverage of the Rolex Sports Car Series is brought to you by Rolex, a crown for every achievement. By Ruby Tuesday, simple, fresh American dining from start to finish. And powered by Pontiac and the 260 horsepower Solstice GXP. We welcome you back to an ever-darkening Watkins Glen on a big weekend of motorsport up here. What a race, Brian. What a finish.
What a finish, and for the 6th time, John Fogarty, Alex Gurney could be drinking the champagne down here. John, you and I talked earlier about your great pole position, but this car, so fantastic on restarts. What makes it so good?
Hi, Sarah. Hi, William. the car was excellent. Kyle Brannon did an outstanding job, and we brainstormed prior to this race to try to get the best car we could for the short course. And, we qualified with a good car, and we raced with pretty much the same car. It was awesome. Fun to drive, and I think the team did a great job. It's a good result for Gainesville Auto Insurance, and just that much closer in the championship now.
Definitely that much closer in the championship. And Alex, for you, it looked like you were going to cruise to an easy one, but that 2 laps from the end, what happened?
Well, I got croned, I think. That some of the guys don't look in the mirrors, it seems like. But anyways, apart from that, I really don't have a single complaint. Just an amazing car, really. Again, like John said, I got to thank Kyle for that and the whole team. Just a perfect day. Really, everyone on the team did an awesome job, and it was very nice to see Max kind of drifting off in the mirror there. Every time on those restarts. So just a great day for Gainesville Auto Insurance.
Definitely a great day. 6 wins on the season. The championship lead now down to only 4. Chris?
Well, Brian, you think Max Angele would be happy about a second place, but he got out of the SunTrust machine. It was very animated down here in pit lane. Still is. Max, if we could have a couple words with you really quick. Max, what happened in those last 2 laps that bunched up the front runners?
Well, what happened is the 76 with Tracy Krohn at the wheel, which is a team principal, team owner, intentionally blocked the entire race and hold us behind him. And then he hit the 99 in the straight. He hit me in the straight in order to allow the 75, which is Colin Brown, to overtake both of us. Colin overtook me, and he didn't overtook the 99. So I tried to overtake him at the straight. He hit me again. Finally, I got around him, luckily, in the last lap. If this is the way to win championship, I disagree. This is ridiculous. It's bad for sport.
Obviously, you're disappointed with that situation, but you are tied in the points now with Scott Pruitt, so you got to be a little bit happy about that.
Yes, I'm happy, and I think we have a speed. We are at the same pace of the 99, so I'm pretty happy looking forward for the next races without Krohn.
Well, as soon as he got out of the SunTrust car, he tried to head over to the Krohn camp. His team held him back, but Jeff Hazel from the Krohn team came over and had a couple words with Max.
An emotional Max Angelelli, and after he calms down, he will realize that while there were isolated incidents in that race, it is not all too bad, because guess what? All of a sudden, for the first time in a long time, we see a different name at the top. Angelelli and Pruitt, 2 of the best in the business, are tied for the lead of the Rolex Series. But more importantly, who is coming? Alex Gurney, John Fogarty, only 4 points out of the lead with 2 to go. More from the pits. Here's Brian.
Scott Pruitt, obviously not the qualifying that you guys wanted. We talked to Memo earlier today about what the great job he did with the pressure on him. But if I had said to you before this race started, hey, you don't have to drive, I'll just give you 3rd, would you have taken it?
From where we were starting, yeah. But, all the Tugmex guys, Ganassi guys, we had great pit stops. The car ran good. I had my kids at home. And we did the right things. Now, we did get one position with what happened at the end. I was, down inside. I was kind of hoping, well, guys, just slide off the track and leave me some room. But Max recovered well. We came right up next to him, right up behind him. Couldn't get that done, but brought the car in 3rd. Good solid day, and just got to keep doing what we're doing.
Good solid day, and this championship continues to close down. Chris?
Well, another strong finish there by Colin Brown until that contact with the 10 car. Colin, quite a few teams in victory lane right now having some strong words about the Krohn team. From your perspective, what happened those last couple laps?
Well, the last couple laps was tight. I was pushing hard, Max was pushing hard, and I guess we caught Tracy there at the end, and Tracy, everybody got packed up behind him. Thought I had a really nice clean pass into turn 10 on Angelelli, and he tried to close the door really hard, and we made contact there, and then thought I had the pass cleared, and we went down here into turn 1, and Max dive bombed to the inside, and I think it was going a bit too quick and knocked into me and spun me around. You don't expect that from a guy racing for the championship and a guy who's been in this series for a long time like Max, but I guess that's the way he's going to race. So disappointed for the Krohn guys. I wish we could have done got that finish in 2nd there, but we'll go on to the next one and hopefully get one there.
Well, 75 car showing a lot of speed, but still looking for that first win of the year.
As we take you to the results of round 12 of the Rolex Sports Car Series. Congratulations, 6 times winners, as we mentioned, Fogarty and Gurney, Gidley and Angelelli, solid. And for the Telmex Ganassi boys of Rojas and Pruitt, that is their 10th top 5 of the year. That's what consistency is all about. 2nd top 5 in a row for the Riley Matthews boys, and Jim Matthews, the best driver vying for the Truman Award here this weekend. That's for sure. Drive of the race, well done. feel a little sorry for Sakiris and Enger and the Samex guys going out early after they had definitely a top 5 car. Well, I'm about to serve you up a platter here. Final thoughts? You could chew on this forever.
I do not like what I just saw at all. I just don't like that, how that came out. I think Mark Raffaft is better to look at this and look at it really hard. There was some dirty business going down there.
Championship is getting really tightly, as we can see at the top of the table, but what a day for Pruitt. Damage control. Ganassi showed their experience today.
2 rounds to go, and it is all tied. We congratulate the 23, the Ruby Tuesday Championship Racing team. They made up the most. They win the SunTrust Improve Your Position Award winner. Hey, finally, we get a little bit of a break in the Rolex Series. In 2 weeks' time, we'll be back at Infineon Raceway Sonoma. On behalf of the entire Speed team, we hope you can be with us there. This championship only gets better. One question.